It's really disturbing for Jewish students to see this lack of allyship on campus. It was Jewish students who led the campaign on campus to stand with Uyghur Muslims in the face of genocide. Jewish students jumped on planes to go volunteer to support Ukrainian refugees leaving Russia. But when it comes to standing up against anti-Semitism, many people feel unable to do so. Now, there's a huge piece that we're doing in terms of the education to ensure that people on campus can be allies to Jewish students. But we've got a very long way to go.
What could be done, though? Because obviously this is something people say, well, the government needs to take action, but what can they do?
Well, I think firstly, while we're very grateful to have seen so many universities adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, fundamentally it's a working definition, and that means for it to have any benefit to Jewish students, it has to be used, and we need to see universities using this definition to call out anti-Semitism, which will make a significant difference to Jewish students on campus. Beyond that, we need to see universities having the moral clarity in their leadership to call out anti-Semitism and anti-Semitism alone. All too often, we are seeing in response to anti-Semitic incidents on campus, a supposed all lives matter approach taken to the treatment of Jewish students. But actually, when there's anti-Semitism on campus and Jewish students face the impact, we need to see anti-Semitism called out singularly. And I hope universities can begin to call out anti-Semitism.
Are there any universities that you would hold up as sort of being leaders in this area, actually implementing policies that have made a difference that other universities could learn from?
Well, listen, I think I'm not going to speak to any university specifically, as it's complicated, because while you could have a really well-intentioned vice-chancellor who does all the right things, nonetheless, it is still true that Jewish students can be victims of anti-Semitism on campus. We're very grateful to the very close working relationship we have with Minister Halfon and with others, and we're working with them, Universities UK, to distribute and get best practice implemented, but of course we've got a very long way to go.
We all know that student unions are dominated by the hard left up and down the country. Why is this problem so associated with the hard left? I mean, people have written, in fact, I published a book about it. Why has the hard left, and I emphasise hard left, got such a problem with anti-Semitism?
Well, I think as we see kind of the history of anti-Semitism transition out of the Holocaust from the far right, we've definitely seen this kind of wave of contemporary anti-Semitism emanating from, as you say, the hard left. And more often than not, we kind of don't really see the language of kind of Jewish people use, but more often than not, it's coded in the language of Zionism, and that then being used as an insult to throw at Jewish people.
So it used to be an issue on the hard right, didn't it? I mean, if we go back to the sort of 20s, 30s, that kind of period, it was seen as the hard right of the Conservative Party that had a problem with anti-Semitism rather than the left.
Well, listen, I think I'd suggest for your viewers to have a look into the Tuck report, which was published last year, which was an independent KC-led report which lifted a lid on the horrendous anti-Semitism within national student politics. And we are working to make sure that the action plan that's emanated from that report is implemented to ensure that student politics can become a space that's inclusive for Jewish students. But there's a very long way to go. It certainly isn't that place right now.
Edward, thank you very much indeed. That's Edward Isaacs there, President of the Union of Jewish Students.